global warming period, which you've spoken of, and they take out the last mini ice age. Now, if you've got that, what you've got is the hockey stick theory, right?
Yeah.
And basically they also talk about the fact that, we didn't actually start looking at the stars physically until we actually started measuring this. And it's just block by, just point by point, they just take the whole thing apart, and they interview a lot of, very respected scientists.
Yeah.
And things like, the whole, models that you're talking about, all this false stuff that they feed into the computers.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're based on things like, surface temperature.
Yes.
Yeah, they interview the guy, there's this professor there that actually said, well, there's got to be a better way of doing that. Mm-hmm. So he had a look at, all these weather satellite data from globally, from the last 10 years, and he discovered in the lower and upper atmosphere where most of the climate change business gets done, there has been nada difference in temperature.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole thing is such a scam.
Yeah, the thing is, though, this is what I'm saying, we're going through schizophrenia here, because the elite aren't ever going to back off, because it seems to be their main plan. And they've already taken so many years now to indoctrinate the youth into this greening thing, to bring the world together. And we even see it with upcoming riots. It's going to be, they're demanding jobs from the government, and I call it changes in the weather, because they want the weather to be altered as well, or save the planet through weather change, etc. It's so incredible that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm completely...
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Great. I'm Alan Watson. This is Cutting Through the Matrix. We're talking to Sam from Australia, who's talking about the farce of global warming and how even major documentaries have been made about it. From the CBC would be a national organisation run by the Canadian government. Yeah, the Canadian government's all on board, completely on board with this whole agenda, regardless of any facts that get presented to the contrary. You're still there, Sam?
Yeah, no, it was amazing just watching it, because I've always been suspicious of it. The way they pushed it through in Australia was that they had basically one documentary showing, which was basically, I forgot what it was. It was the one that was first made by the English producer. It was, they screened that, and then they had a panel of experts behind, after the thing, debating it, and that was it. From that moment on, that was that sort of nodal point where they just went, okay, now we believe it. Now the whole country believes it. It was just amazing how quick. But to the credit of most of my friends who are skeptics, but they're not. They're still asleep. Even they would.
Every country now. Every country has got its member of parliament or Congress to do with a Department of Global or Environment, basically. All these guys are completely on board with this in every country.
That's right, and they must know these facts. They must know.
Sure to do.
Shame.
Yeah.
And they still go ahead with it. So it makes you see stuff in a different light. But anyway, the second documentary I wanted to point out was something that was on Australian ABC called Four Corners. And so there's a couple of interesting docos there, investigative journalism, but there's one called The Dishonouring of Marcus Ironfield. Now, Marcus Ironfield is this federal court judge or ex-federal court judge, who's now been jailed. And the whole thing centered around the fact that he tried to avoid a speeding fine ticket, and he claimed that his friend was driving the car that day, and it turns out that the friend that he claimed had driven the car had been dead for 3 years. So then basically he's just been sentenced for perverting the course of justice, which lands him 2 years in jail. But it's interesting because through all these lies and with his position and stuff, they were able to track where he was that day, what he'd eaten in lunch, and where he was. In the documentary, the guy comes on, one of the policemen comes on and goes, yes, well, they got gigabytes of data on this guy. Now, just basically his trip from the restaurant to, the city back to his house. Now, the thing is, they're able to go back and work out exactly what he had done, exactly what he'd eaten.
Yeah.
And so anyone that ever says that, we're not being watched, you're being paranoid, there is no Big Brother state, have a look at any crime that's sort of, big crime, and watch how they can piece together the phone calls, what was said, what was recorded. How can they dig all this up? Mm-hmm. We are being watched. I mean,
we are being watched.
It's just so elementary.
Yeah, and I've read many articles here from mainstream, again, from the big the police organizations, etc., and the NSA, telling us that, they keep telling us that we're watching it. They're watching everything we do. And right now they're funneling all information, phone, fax, computer, through central lines of filtering now, so they can monitor all data going through the one system. That's what all the big servers have been up to for the last few years. Yeah.
We are completely under a totalitarian regime.
We are. We absolutely are. Well, thanks for calling, Sam.
Thanks, Alan.
So that's the music now. So from Hamish and myself in Ontario, Canada, it's good night to me, your God, or your gods go with you.